We are live. Episode 63 of the Super Terb podcast coming up. I got a phenomenal guest with me today. I'm pumped. Let me just share this to our personal page, Will, and we're going to get started.
All right, great.
All right. Got it. Let me get started here. And welcome to the Supercast. I'm your host, Michael Terb, your local real estate expert with the Terb Group, Coldwell-Banker HPW, aka Super Terb, aka Coach Terb. And I'm back with episode 63 of the Super Terb podcast. We talk real estate, business, sports, and beer in the triangle. It's crazy. We're at episode 63. And I've got an amazing guest next to me, Will Leshchiner. He's owner of Rhino Roofing here in Raleigh. And I can't wait for him to tell more about his company, how he started, what he loves about what he does, and the common questions that come with roofing. So thank you for being here, Will. Before we get started, though, we always put in a real estate update of what's going on. And as we know, guys, over the last 6-8 months, it's been pretty fluid in the real estate market as far as the shift that we're seeing. But I want to address the one mistake or the biggest mistake buyers are facing early here in 2023, and that is waiting. The uncertainty is out there. They're hearing things on the news, and they're a little bit timid due to interest rates. What are they going to do? And instead of going forward, because the inventory is still very low. Our inventory, believe it or not, is still under in Wake County, which is here in Raleigh, less than what it was before the pandemic. So as we're making offers, we're still up against multiple offers. The difference is, as a client that got a house yesterday, we beat out one other offer instead of 6. So if you're waiting for that perfect time, one, I never think there's a perfect time. The market is the market. Or you're waiting for those rates because Fannie Mae is predicting rates to be in the mid-5s, low-5s come second, third quarter. All you're doing is waiting for more competition to come out, and you may be priced out of the market, or you're going to be in a position where you can't compete. So this is vital for the people that either couldn't compete over the last couple of years, you're renting, and you're deciding whether or not you want to sign that lease for another year. But let's have a meeting, let's talk. And let's get it where you're building equity and wealth of your own versus paying someone else's mortgage. So if there's anything we can do to help you, let us know. But don't wait. It's already February 1st. Hard to believe. Let's get out there and find you that next home. I'm going to take a quick break, and then I'll be back on the other side with Will Leshchiner of Rhino Roofing. And welcome back to the Super Terb podcast. I'm your host, Michael Terb, your local real estate expert with the Terb Group, Coldwell-Banker HPW, and I'm back with Will Leshchiner, owner of Rhino Roofing. Say what's up, man.
Hey, how is everyone? Yeah. How are you, Terb?
I know I've said your name a million times already. And by the way, I'm rocking my Super Terb football jersey. You can't really see it on the air here. Our Super Bowl party's coming up February 12th.
Yes.
At Strike and Barrel. So I'm getting excited about that. And Will, we're blessed to have you as one of our sponsors, and I'm very happy for you to be here. So tell everybody where, your name again. I've said it 5 million times, and then where you're from.
William Leshchiner with Rhino Roofing, here for all of your roofing needs.
All right, fantastic. So tell us about, but where were you from before? From Raleigh? Have you always lived here?
Actually, no, originally from St. Louis, Missouri. Met my wife in Florida. We lived in New York New York City for a very short time. And then North Carolina was the place to be, and wonderful area, as we've got Terb here selling homes because it's a wonderful place to raise a family.
Awesome. And so tell me about Rhino Roofing.
Rhino Roofing, to be honest, it all started just because I, at the time, worked for another roofing company, and I was disappointed that so many customers were let down by the company, and I was not in a position to actually help them out. So I made a change. Instead of complaining about it, went out and did everything I could and got certified with all of the large companies so we could offer everything the other companies could, go above and beyond with our warranties, and we take care of every issue and make sure that we do it right from the very first time to avoid a lot of the common issues that people have had with roof installs.
And so you said before Rhino Roofing, you were in another roofing industry. Were you an ownership there, or were you working for a roofer?
I was not an ownership. I was actually working for the company, and I had all of the experience in the back office as far as getting everything processed and all the customers taken care of. And I was tired of seeing customers let down just time after time. And I wasn't in a position to come out there and properly take care of them and I don't care how small it is. If it's important to you, it's important to us. because your roof section.
We got something going on in our studio, but I'm fixing it, and I'm getting my mic back in center here. This is where you can, when you're on live TV, anything can happen. I apologize for that. All right, perfect. So the company with Rhino Roofing, is that a national company, or is this something that you started on your own?
I started it completely on my own here in the Raleigh market, and we actually got recognized by FEMA because when Hurricane Ian came around, we were actually asked if we were in a position to go down to Florida and help, which we did. And actually this summer we're expanding up to Wilmington.
So I was just going to ask you, so what areas do you cover? I know that I'm just going to take this mic down right now. I'm going to put this here. What areas do you cover? I know that you've been down to Florida with the last hurricane.
Correct. So currently we are covering an 1.5-hour radius within Raleigh. This summer we'll be able to cover everything between Raleigh and Wilmington. So we actually have more than a handful of customers out in Greensboro as well.
All right, I apologize, Will. We're going to get this all set.
No worries.
We got it. Oh, perfect. Now I think they said readjust. We're back on. We are live now. We're already live, but we got the audio. Perfect. Sorry about that. So you cover a pretty good broad area.
Yes.
Now when you became owner, tell everyone out there, because one of the reasons I started the podcast was talk to local business owners, entrepreneurs. Is first of all, what made you make that leap? I know it was the customer service, raving fans. But what would you think the biggest challenge you faced when you did that?
The biggest challenge I faced was honestly just going up against companies that have been around for 30 plus years. But we have a very different approach. We're a boutique roofing company. We hold your hand every step of the way. These larger companies, and I have nothing bad to say about a lot of them, but they have gotten complacent. They're accustomed to the business just coming to them, and when an issue arises, it's not a big deal to them. Any slightest little thing that bothers you, you reach out to us. It's important. It's important because no matter what happens, you have to be able to feel comfortable and rely on the person that you hired, that you felt comfortable with in your kitchen, in your living room, on your front porch, wherever we sat down and discussed everything. We made a commitment to you. We told you we're going to be there every step of the way. So if there's one little item that bothers you, that's what we're there for.
And then how many employees do you currently have?
Between production and sales, we currently have 24 people for counting part-time.
Wow. All right. So then when you started, was it just you?
When it started, it was honestly just myself and one crew for production. That was it.
So that's cool. And then you've just grown over time, and it's fantastic. And I'll get into my experience working with you here in a little bit. That's how we met. And actually, I had my roof replaced not too long ago, so I'll tell everybody about that experience. What is the typical workday for you?
Typical workday. What I love about my typical workday, there's nothing typical about it. One day I can be sitting in the office all day doing paperwork, as we all know is boring. The next day I can be 3 stories in the air in a commercial building, or 2 or 3 stories in the air on a residential home. And believe it or not, I would much rather be up on a residential or commercial roof and doing what we do best, looking for what the issues are, finding damage, making repairs, replacements, because that's what gives me pleasure. I don't like dealing with the numbers. I love being out in the field. I love talking to customers.
What I said is, and how I met you was through my buddy who helped me with insurance, and my roof was getting up to age, about 17 years, and gave Will a call. It was awesome to have you come out personally. And then the inspection that you did on my property was just unreal. I think you were there 90 minutes minimum. Body cam, drone, and the report you provided was just fantastic. So if anybody's out there looking, or you're thinking maybe, hey, my roof's getting of age, and we'll get into this question here a little bit on when people should start looking, if they have a 30-year shingle, what year should be best. Will and his company are the people you need to reach out to. I'll have Will leave his information here at the end of the podcast, but if you guys want to reach out to me, I will have you on speed dial, because the one thing that I get, and I do a lot in my own business in real estate, it's all about the relationship, and it's about the customer service and feeling as if, the importance and the integrity is there, and you provide that 110%.
I appreciate that.
When you started your business, and you touched on a little bit as far as the other companies, bigger companies. What was another challenge that you faced?
The other challenge I faced was honestly negotiating with the insurance, because insurance companies, when the insurance agent comes out, signs you up, promises you the world, hey, when there's an issue, we're going to take care of it. For the most part, absolutely, they do, but they do so at a minimum. They don't fully take care of everything. That's the one thing I've learned doing this. So we actually have a claims management team and a public adjuster on staff. The reason we do this, it's not fair to the customer who's already suffered the damage and going through the process to have to deal with them, fight, go back and forth. Because if you do, you would truly probably have to take a day or two off from work in order to do so. And insurance companies, they like taking their time. So we like to not just we're with you, but we're also letting them know, hey, you have X amount of time because we are required to report to the North Carolina Insurance Commissioner's office if it takes too long. And we want to make sure that you're getting a fair amount, that everything that, whether it's interior damage, your roof, whatever needs to be covered is fully covered. Those funds belong to you. They belong to us. And then you make the decision what you want to do and move forward with.
And what are the most common, this may be a silly question, but those common repairs you see with roofs? And then what deems a roof that needs to be replaced versus repaired?
Absolutely.
Because, when I go to a home or we get a home inspection back and we see raised roof shingles, we may see expired, discontinued shingles, but they still may be functioning. What are the most common things you see? And then when do you say, hey, Terb, we recommend the roof to be replaced versus repair?
Absolutely. So let's start with the most common repairs. The most common repair on your roof is going to be your pipe jack. So you've got a boot around the pipe jack. It's made out of neoprene. The number one thing we recommend to actually place on top, and it's actually on Terb's house as well, is a perma boot. It is made fully of plastic. This way you never have to worry about the UV rays breaking down your neoprene, and you don't have to worry about water coming in. Secondly,
and how much is that item that you put on mine to help prevent that? The boot, is it the roof, the cover?
So you have a couple of options. You can go to Home Depot. They cost in low 20s. And if you're having a roofing company do it, retail, you're probably looking anywhere $1 to $150. When I put it on your roof, I warranty them personally for the length of your roof. So if anything ever happens to it, I will come back and replace it.
Well, and the thing that you told me about, because the average person, I know I wouldn't know to even put something like that on, something, in my opinion, minor as far as the cost, but how much it could do to save your roof or future damage. So that's good to know. And then we were talking about when a roof would need to be replaced.
So in all honesty, the number one thing we do is when we go on a roof, we go with an open mind, because there's numerous things we can see on our roof, and I can even go on my roof. My roof is currently just a little over 5 years old. I've got several things going on up there. I've got a handful of hail. I've got improper installation, but those are not reasons to replace the roof. What we're looking for, if it is a peril such as either hail or wind, we're looking for extensive amounts. We're not just looking for a tiny bit, because at the end of the day, we go on many roofs, and more commonly than not, we tell people, hey, you still have plenty of life left on this roof. So when your roof is entirely covered in hail, yes, it needs to be replaced, even though that's damage you don't physically see. Give you an idea, we just about a month ago did a house out in Youngsville. We replaced several sheets of plywood. The reason we had to do so, there was no water intrusion into the home, but because it was engulfed in hail, there was already so many mini leaks that every time it stormed, water was actually penetrating the plywood. So it already had plenty of damage. And we do an old school test when we do a roof replacement to see if your decking has to be replaced. We take a hammer, we hit it, it goes through, we replace it. It doesn't go through, obviously it's solid.
Solid. If you have a 30-year shingle, because that's usually the average we see, what year is it a good idea to just start watching it? Because do they make it to all 30 years, or is it a year around year 20 you want to start looking? I know obviously take storms or other events out of the equation.
So unfortunately we live in a storm state, but taking that out of the equation, I'd say after year 10, it's worth just having it checked out.
Just checked out.
And I'll be honest, after year 10, we should be able to get off your roof and say you're good for another 10 years.
Okay.
So if you have a 30-year roof, probably around year 20 is realistically when it may have to be changed. It could be a little bit sooner, and it could be a few years later, depending upon mitigating factors.
These are all great answers answers to my questions for clients, until I get you on the phone. As far as price ranges, I know this is an open-ended question. What's the ranges of the roof? Maybe minimum to most expensive, and what dictates that price? Is it the steepness of the roof? What kind of roof? But what would the range be there?
So actually, excellent questions. Yes, all of those factors play a variance on the price. The steeper it is, the harder it is to do, the more challenging it is, the more safety equipment we have to have in place. And then obviously the more roof, the more it's going to cost. Kind of give you an idea, ballpark price, the average price for a roof that we are seeing right now is about $18,500.
Okay.
If you have a townhouse, the average price is about $5,000.
That's good. That's a good range. What is the craziest roof story that you have? It's got to be the first one that comes to mind.
First,
this is PG-13 workers that you can share.
All right. So craziest story I have is actually doing a roof where it was a very large roof. It was about 70 squares. Just to give you an idea, a square is about a 10 by 10 section of your roof.
So how much do you think your house was, or square footage wise?
Square footage, I'd say interior about 4,000.
Okay, good size. All right.
And it wasn't a lot of land. I'd say roughly about 15 acres.
All right.
I never did ask the homeowner, and they were amazing people. But the one thing I've never had happen to me prior to this, and has never happened again, is a horse got loose on their property and just walked up. All of a sudden, I just feel something behind me. And for the customers that know me, and I'm not sure I've ever said this to Terb, and I'm about to say this in front of a lot of people, slightly embarrassing, but if you know me, if I bump into a snake in the field or a spider is on me, I'm going to sound like a 12-year-old girl screaming. So when I turn around and I see these lips just going and this tongue going by my ear, I freak out.
I wish we had that on video. That's awesome. Have you ever fallen from a roof?
I've never fallen from a roof.
All right, good. What do you love about what you do?
So honestly, it's just the challenge of the climb. I know it sounds ridiculous, but there are people who wake up and love overcoming challenges, and every single week we have challenging routes to climb. I love going in the field, and whether I'm helping my guys or doing it myself, figuring out the best way to climb so we can actually do a proper inspection. Because yes, you mentioned we've got a drone. We love flying the drone. The drone takes great pictures. But the problem is, especially when it comes to hail and other types of damage, we can't tell if your decking is spongy if we're not walking on it. We have to be old school. We have to be up there. We have to be able to touch and feel. And we do have all sorts of safety equipment, special shoes we put on, but it is just getting up there. And the more challenging, the more fun it is, because at the end of the day, I'm not young anymore. I like to think I am. But when I get out there and just knowing, hey, I was able to climb that roof, I was able to help this customer, I was able to help them determine where they are, what they need to know, and be able to get to the next step.
That's awesome. So you kind of touched on this earlier in the podcast, but what separates Rhino Roofing from your competitors?
Honestly, just the fact we're a boutique roofing company. Number one, you are going to be assigned a rep. You are going to have their cell phone number. Number two, you're going to have my cell phone number, because if there's a problem, I want you to be able to escalate it to me. We have full transparency. Whether we're doing it retail or insurance, we are happy to do it either way. There is no preference. At the end of the day, as long as we're honest, we show you everything. We want to show you all the products that will be going on your roof. Part of our job is to actually educate you. We want you to feel comfortable. We want you to know what's going up there. And the reason for that, it's an expensive investment. This, for most people, you're only going to do it once in your lifetime.
No, that's. I will just say with my experience with you and your company's right on. Always great communication. You were always on time. If it was anything, I was always running behind. You're very patient.
No worries.
You explained the whole process. Yeah, like I said, you were there. With us, we went through an insurance claim, which is probably quite a bit of the business that you
Yes.
have, and you were there on the phone with me with my insurance carrier. You were there when the adjuster came out to answer any questions they have, because we don't do this every day, and they thought it would need to be replaced. And then the day that, you even looked out for me because we were supposed to have it installed right before the hurricane came in. Now it didn't hit us as bad as Florida, but
Correct.
We got strong winds. You're like, let's wait till a week after, and then you were there. Your crew was there early in the morning and got it done in a day. It was amazing. So, where do you see Rhino Roofing in 5 years?
Honestly, in 5 years, my biggest thing that I have, and it's challenging because obviously I want to grow, but I still want to make sure that we still have that small touch feel and that never goes away. Because the biggest thing for me, even before I owned this, anytime I'd have a contractor in my home, my concern, I call the HVAC guy, oh my God, this is going to cost X amount of dollars because I don't know these specific parts. My biggest fear is just hiring anybody off the street, them going to someone's home and saying, yes, you need a new roof. This is why, all these things, and then just throw a big number in front of you. That's not us. That never will be us. My biggest thing is just making sure that we understand what the goals are, because I get customers who can't afford their deductibles, even though the insurance will purchase it. And they're saving up for the deductible, and they need time to be able to get to where they need to be, and we'll mitigate it for them. There's absolutely no issues with that. We'll go ahead and document it, do what we have to do. That is absolutely okay with your insurance. It is okay with your mortgage company, because everyone's got a vested interest, but we are mitigating it so there's no further damage in the meantime. So my biggest thing is just staying on track where we are, to listen to all our customers and always be available to them. I never want to take my cell phone number away or our guys' cell phone numbers away. I always want you to feel comfortable. If you're a doctor, a nurse, a janitor who works overnights, and you can't talk to us till 7 o'clock in the morning or 9 o'clock at night, I want you to be able to feel comfortable to give us a call and talk to us when it's convenient for you.
That's awesome. No, that's great. So before I get into rapid questions, tell everybody how they can reach out to you or find you.
So number one, you can always reach us through our main number, which is 919-709-ROOF-7663. My cell phone number is 919-646-4800. You can also go to our website, www.rhino-roof.com, and you can actually submit a request on there. Since something's flying towards you, I'm waiting to see if something's going to come flying towards me.
Go ahead. Keep going.
And you're always also welcome to reach out on social media, on Facebook. And
I tagged you on the Facebook post, your business page. So anybody that wants to go through there, and also reach out to me. Great people are hard to find, and the people that we partner with on a daily basis to help our clients accomplish their goals. Whether it's a client that's not even looking to sell, but hey, Terb, I need a great roofer. Who do you recommend? It's how I met you through Dustin.
Yes. And
you're an extension of us, so we're honored to have you help our clients, so we can get you in front of them. So I'm gonna do some rapid questions for you. We'll have some fun, okay?
All right, let's do it.
All right. I always like to get to know everyone that comes on the podcast. Favorite food?
Chinese food.
All right. What's your favorite dish?
Beef and Mongolian beef, actually.
All right. I like King Orong Chinese. Favorite restaurant?
Angus Barn.
Great. Steak?
Absolutely.
Yeah. Favorite band?
Favorite band? You actually have me on music's not really my thing, but I'm gonna say Dave Matthews Band.
Have you seen him in concert?
Yes, I actually took my wife to her first Dave Matthews concert.
A little shout out. Thanks, Bobby. Let everybody know about this. You tuned in on LinkedIn. That's cool.
Oh, great.
Yeah, I've probably seen them 4 or 5 times. Great show. Little tidbit. My college apartment was right next to, at the time, it was called Blockbuster Pavilion, kind of like a Walnut Creek down near Charlotte.
Right.
And from my balcony, you could see the stage or the big screens, and to the right was the pool. So we had many parties.
Wow, that's great.
Yeah, it was very cool. We picked out the first apartment in the whole complex where we built it.
Wish I knew you back then, too.
Yeah, we had some good times. Favorite cocktail?
Gin and tonic.
All right. Favorite sports team?
St. Louis Cardinals.
All right. And football as the Jets.
You are
Remember
correct.
us having that conversation.
Yes.
Cool. What do you like to do when you're not working?
Honestly, I'm simple. I just love spending time with my kids.
I can't beat that. What's one thing that one would not know about you?
Something someone would not know about me, because if you know me, you already know I love spending time with my family. But if you don't know me, and I haven't had a chance to do this in many, many years, and I think my wife's going to kill me for saying this, but video gaming. I don't think.
Yeah. Hey.
I've got a PlayStation 5. I am guilty. I don't think I've turned it on once in the past 6 months.
Yeah. I used to play with Jacob's. My son's got a PS5. And back in the day, I used to play all the time, play Madden and everything. It just, yeah. And there's times I've played with them, but it's amazing how far. It's funny. I see the old like Genesis when we used to play.
I remember those.
That was good stuff. Best place you visited?
Best place I visited would probably be Corfu, Greece, with my wife.
In Greece, you said?
Mm-hmm.
Very cool. Where's a place you haven't been but want to go?
My wife is dying to go to Rome, and she has spoken so much about it. She's been there once before. I'm actually looking forward to one day going with her.
That's awesome. Yeah, we're going to Hawaii in June.
That's awesome.
Yeah, we're taking the kids, and Leslie and I went there for our honeymoon. Shoot, it's gonna be 19 years ago. June was there. But I went a year. I went a couple times after. Well, we went right after we got married. When I coached, we had a tournament there in Hawaii.
Very
I actually
nice.
lost my wedding ring snorkeling. Yeah, so the ring I'm actually wearing now, we bought that night in Hawaii. The lady that helped us was like, if I had $1 for every time this has happened, I would not have a jewelry store.
Oh, wow.
So we're excited. Yeah, we're going to do 4 days in Oahu and 6 in Maui.
That's exciting.
Yeah, so we're excited.
Very nice.
You can have dinner with 2 people, dead or alive. Who would it be?
To dinner with 2 people, dead or alive. Wow.
You like these questions?
I do. You're catching me completely off guard. 2 people. Number 1, I would love to sit down with the former CEO of Apple, the original CEO, who's no longer with us.
Yeah, Amy to Rome's amazing.
Oh, great.
Yeah. Very cool. Yeah, I've never been. I've been there. Who was it? Who did you say? I apologize.
The original CEO of Apple.
Okay, and then who else?
The secondary person, dead or alive. Actually, probably a former President Barack Obama.
All right, that'll be some interesting conversations. That'll be fun. And this is a question. So I started rapid questions probably about, I don't know, 20, 25 episodes ago. Just I wanted to mix it up and learn more about it. It's more fun to do that. But the question I've asked everyone on my show,
right?
And eventually, whenever the Super Tour podcast retires, I think it'd be cool to kind of make a book.
I think so.
Of the best advice you've ever received and by who?
The best advice I've ever received.
I mean, I could actually title the book that.
Yes, you could.
Answers from the Super Tour podcast, because every answer is awesome.
So in my 20s, I actually worked for Bank of America, and I had a mentor at the time, and he gave me quite a bit of advice. But the one thing that always sticks out is never worry about the small things and focus on what the task at hand.
I love it. I know people have heard me a million times if they've been listening. Mine is finish. And that was my old high school coach.
I love it.
Whatever you start, but it applies to everything that we encounter is, because we all start something, we're going to finish it, to the end. And when I coach Jacob, even in basketball, rec league, it's as little as a layup. You may miss the initial layup,
right.
But we're going to finish
That's
any
great.
job you start. So, but that's really cool. Man, I've loved you coming on the podcast. I appreciate it. We've been meaning. Sorry for the speaker microphone malfunction, but we're playing through it. No, we really appreciate you coming on, and really, like I said, honored that we've met. And not only are you phenomenal at what you do with your company, even better off the roof, as I'd say. It's always good to know you have someone in your corner. So if anybody's wants a roof inspection in the area, hit us up. I can't thank Will for coming on the show. If you like the show, please subscribe. Please like it. Please follow. If you're at all thinking about wanting to come on the Super Tour podcast, I started this. Actually, I used to talk about beer a little more too. I feature local breweries and things like that. Still do. I always cover sports. Obviously, got the Super Bowl coming up. But if you have any desire to come on the podcast, email me at the email below, michael@idaturba.com. Would love for you to come on and tell your story. If there's anything we can do to help you in the triangle accomplish real estate goals, we'd be honored to come out and help you do that. And it's Michael Turbot. You're a local real estate expert with the Ida Turbot Group, Coldwater HPW, with Will Leshchiner, Rhino Roofing. As I always say, right? Remember, who you work with matters. See you next time.